What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of First Cup. It is Thursday, March 10th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of tea. It's hot. That's very warm, and I just burned my face. So, what's happening? Hope you're well. Hope you had a great Wednesday. Hope Thursday's looking even better. Today we're going to talk about, there's a new episode of Martial Arts Radio out. Give you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. What was it? There was something I really wanted to tell you all. What was it? I don't know. Hopefully I'll remember. I don't take notes. I don't start the day with notes. Good morning, Jenny, Andy, Ray, all of you, whether you're watching live later or listening. Thanks for coming by. It's bright and sunny out. It's cold. I can see where the deer have been running all over the place in the backyard. It's kind of fun to see their tracks. They don't dig up the apples like they used to. When I first moved here, they were constantly, I could see them like all winter long digging up the apples. And that means one of two things. They've got a better spot or there are fewer deer. I'm guessing it's a combination of both. I don't think there's many deer right in the areas there used to be. There are certainly more dogs than there used to be. A few more houses than there used to be. So, but I miss seeing them. I remember back one of the first years I was here, there was I think it was a 2-year-old deer. Wasn't afraid of me. And I stopped spending time with it when I got within 10 feet. Because I was like, you know what? Either this thing's going to lose its mind and attack me, and I don't really want to go to the hospital from a deer attack, or it's going to become so docile around people that it's really going to get itself hurt. You know, some crazy person's going to, well, not crazy, some very adventurous hunter is going to say, you know what? Forget a rifle. I'm going to take this thing with a knife. But I love all the critters. Good morning also to Kelly and Stacy and Andy. Who else is here? Who else is here? I want to make sure I get everybody's names. If you say good morning, Dennis. There we go. All right. Ray, Andy, Stacy, Kelly. Ray says it's snowing on the western side of the state. Well, good luck with that. I'm sure if it's snowing there, it'll snow here later. Well, if I look out a different window, it's probably snowing there. Yesterday was busy. Busier than I want Wednesdays to be. Andrew and I had a call and we talked about some things for the future. We talked about all the weekend. We talked about the show. And one of the things that we're going to try to do with the show, because right now we record every other week, and I want to try to get that to every third week. And we'll see how we can do with that. And if we can do well with that, then maybe we push out to my goal of once a month, which would require me recording late. But if it's just once a month, I can handle it. You know, we record maybe 5 shows, maybe 6 shows. So, yeah. What else happened yesterday? I went to the gym. That's what I was going to share with all of you. It has to do with food. Big surprise. Okay. I'm not saying that I invented this, but I've never heard anyone doing this. And it was life-changing and amazing, and I'm happy to share it with all of you. Okay, when you make nachos, before you put down that first layer of chips, put down soft tortillas. And you might be thinking, Jeremy, why would you do that? Because all the pieces that fall off the nachos, now you got tacos. Probably one of the best things I've ever done. I was like, I'm trying this. And it worked beautifully. I had a bunch of nachos, and then I had 3 tacos with the stuff. It's pretty great. Jenny says, boom, taco. Good morning, Brian. So Jenny says, yeah, that's a thing. Well, you know what? I didn't know that. So I developed it in parallel. Still a good idea. I'm still claiming it. I'm just not claiming that I was the first. lot of my ideas come from nowhere. Like tater tot nachos. I was the first one to do that. Nobody else did that first. Now everybody does it. That was me. Zoom lash. The word Zoom lash. That was mine. There's a bunch of things out there that I did first. But I'm not famous enough to document these things that it matters. So I still appreciate the innovation. Well, thank you. And everyone should still try it. So Stacy, I think meant to put an exclamation point. Stacy says, AIW, all in weekend. Andrew and I have plans for next week to take the schedule, what we're doing to the next level. It's funny. This thing's, it's going to be great. It really is. I'm really excited. What else happened? Meetings. I had like 5 meetings yesterday. It was weird. It's too many meetings. Doing a new website for somebody, for a friend's business. And I was looking at, I was like, I know I sent them a proposal before we first started talking about doing this website in 2019. And it's finally getting over the goal line. So that's cool. Brian says his son Devlin wants you to know. He says hello and misses seeing you in class and such. He also is excited to be 13 in 2 days. Well, happy birthday on Saturday to Devlin. 13 is a big deal. And I had, you know what? I was trying to go to Taekwondo last night. I really was. And I took a look at my schedule and I went, maybe I can do it. I couldn't do it. I did not finish my work for the day until about an hour after I would have needed to in order to leave. And even then I was fried. I love training. I love going to martial arts classes. But if my head's not in it in the right way, I mean, sometimes I will force myself through, but if I'm emotionally exhausted, that's where I often will pull back because I want to make sure that I have a good experience. I want to make sure that people around me have a good experience. And when you've done something for a very long time, it can be easy to forget why you love it. And I try to be careful riding that line between pushing myself and forcing myself, right? You probably all know the difference. I'll push myself to train. I'll push myself to go to a class. I'll push myself in a lot of ways. When I force myself, even though it's self-motivated, it still breeds a little bit of resentment. So I never want to feel like I have to go to class. And that's what I try to be careful of. And that's why I didn't go. Jenny says, I wish I could attend all in weekend. I have an important family event that weekend. You'll just have to consult me in my calendar before planning the next all in weekend. Well, if everything goes well, we will have more than one all in weekend next year. The hope, because the expectation is that we're doing multiple free training days this year. And if those free training days are attended well enough, then we will do all in weekends in those areas. Frank asks, are you having coffee or tea today? If it's tea, what kind? Still tea. I am likely, so I'll hint at this. In less than a month, I'm attending a retreat. How much do I want to say about this retreat? It has nothing to do with martial arts. It is... It's very hippie. A lot of you would kind of use like kind of hippy-dippy terms to describe it. And starting next week, there's a progression as I start reducing the certain foods. Like I think starting next week, I'm off alcohol entirely. And then a week before, it's like super simple. Like I get down, basically start eating like vegetables and water, fruit and vegetables and water. But caffeine is definitely on the list. So I'm going to have to switch out of the English breakfast tea I'm drinking now. Still on this theory that I might be allergic to coffee, to, some kind of herbal tea. I think that's next week, or maybe that's 2 weeks. Yeah, it's coming. That'll be the first weekend of April. And I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah. What's going on today? Today we have, don't we? Don't we have our whistlekick school owners group? I believe we do. Come on, calendar, work better. Yep. School owners mastermind, 9 o'clock. Looking forward to seeing those in the Patreon and the appropriate tiers. Hopefully everybody's joining. Had a great time the last couple. And just a reminder, if you have a school, it means you can write off your Patreon contribution. And you're probably not going to get a better return on that money. I just want to throw that out there. So I got that. I'm going to go grab, I think I told you when I got my final retainers for my teeth that one of them cracked within 2 weeks. I'm going back to grab. They made more for me, so I'm going to go grab those. I really want to go to the plant store while I'm up there, but I think I'm going to have to wait and go to the plant store on Saturday. I'm going to try and tap the maple trees today. That's part of why I'm not going to the plant store, because I should have tapped the trees a few days ago. Pretty much should have tapped the trees when I got back from vacation, but I didn't. But it's time to make some maple syrup. I still have a little bit left from last year. I didn't make much, but I also don't eat many pancakes. But when I do, putting maple syrup on that I made is pretty darn sweet. What else is going on today? I have acupuncture. I'll go back to the gym. I got to record intros and outros for the 4 episodes on Tuesday. I love doing the episodes. I don't like doing the intros and outros. I don't know why. Probably because they're just not as fun. I like talking to people, but they gotta happen. We have decided that one of them is being released in video on Patreon, audio only on the podcast feed. So we are continuing to look for ways to increase the value of the Patreon. So hopefully we can get more of you to just say, okay, fine, I will give you some money. Stacy says, lemon ginger tea is my favorite herbal, wakes you up. Jenny says, and it's good for the belly. Ginger is good stuff. Jenny's asking more about this retreat I'm going on. Minimalist mind, body, spirit reset. So the goal, all right, so I'll be super real with you guys. I have talked for a couple years now about the chronic anxiety I deal with. And I was chalking it up to mental health stuff. I was chalking it up to chemical imbalance. I was gone on vacation. Like, gone. It's not a chemical imbalance, it's stress. So this retreat has something to do with that. I'm not going to talk much about it. I'm probably not going to talk much about it when I come back. Just the hope is that I will come away with some better understanding, some better tools to work with this, because it's not going away. Frank says, the good vibes everyone sent me have really helped me feel better. Well, that's great to hear. I'm very glad, Frank. I was worried about you, man. And he drinks ginger turmeric tea in the morning. Turmeric is such an interesting root. Powerful anti-inflammatory. If you have the opportunity, if you're taking turmeric as a supplement, take a look at curcumin, ideally with bioperine, or at least black pepper. Bioperine is an active ingredient in black pepper that helps with the absorption. In fact, I put black pepper in a lot of things to help with absorption. I find it interesting that here that the two spices that remain that we put on so many things are salt and pepper. And salt is necessary to be alive. It's critical for life. And black pepper helps the absorption of so many other things. Did ancient people know these things? Maybe. Brian takes turmeric for his arthritis. Take care, Andy. All right, let's switch it up. Let's switch gears. So Frank sent me some stuff, and today is Chuck Norris's 82nd birthday. Can you believe that? He's 82. 82 years old. Still doing it. I hope you get him on the show someday. I really do. We're kind of we're getting close to where it just becomes everyone around him. And one of them will say, "Come on, Chuck, you got to do this." That's the hope. All right. Always remember that your success begins inside you. If you can't see it first, no one else ever will. This is a better take on the fake it till you make it idea. You have to see your own success. You not only have to believe it, that it can happen, but that it is happening. And that's tough. That can lead to imposter syndrome and all sorts of other things where you feel like you're not worthy. But guess what? If you don't work through that stuff, nobody else is going to believe you are. Pick a celebrity, Chuck Norris. Do you think Chuck Norris gets up and he's like, I don't know if I deserve to be in this movie. I don't know if I'm good enough, etc. Of course not. In fact, I think there are a lot of people that we could look at and agree that person's not that good, but they believe that they're good, so they're off doing whatever this thing is. How about all the people? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that happens all the time. Happens in martial arts, sadly, far too often. We look at someone who is doing something. And we're like, that person's not that good, but they're doing better than me. Why? Because they believe that they're better. They believe that they deserve it. I've been working on this. I'm a humble person, but I've had to embrace breaking out of that, because if I'm going to talk to the people that I'm talking to, if we're going to do the things that we're going to do, if I'm going to travel the country and teach, I kind of have to grow out of being this guy who lives in the woods and used to do a morning show with his cat. Now does a morning show without a cat. I miss the cat. T.E.A.M. Together, everyone achieves more. That's a great acronym. I like that a lot. Reminds me, there's a African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's it. I like that sentiment. The idea that if we work together, if we truly work together, we can do so much more. This is why everything we do at Whistlekick now, if possible, I partner up with someone. I get help because I can't do it all by myself. And if you look at all the things that we do, as we've added help, they've gotten better. Books are better because of Jenny, undoubtedly. The show is better because we added Julius, then we added Leslie, and then we added Andrew. There are a variety of other things. I'm not going to name everybody, but I am going to say one more. This show is much better because of Frank, for sure. Frank says 82, and he's still kicking. Literally. Quite true. Kelly, in response to my comments about my anxiety, when I was on vacation in the warm weather, my fibromyalgia symptoms and pain went away. It was like magic. So I understand. Yeah. Yeah. Vacation Jeremy is a different Jeremy. And I like that Jeremy. And I want to get closer to who that person is day to day. He's fun. He's confident. He doesn't worry. He wears flip flops. I wear flip flops here in the summer. I'm not gonna lie. I am considering, this would be several years out, but I am considering looking for a way that I can spend parts of the winter in a place like Belize. I don't know if that's Florida. I don't know where that is. It's probably not Florida. Florida and I do not get along well. But Belize, we get along. Costa Rica and I get along. We will see. Like, how sweet would it be? You're like, oh, martial arts vacation, going to Jeremy's whistlekick, whatever, all in, all inclusive, whatever in Belize. You show up, you train, I feed you, you go home. Sounds great, right? Let's do that. Jenny says, I have heard these quotes many times, but I had no idea they were attributed to Chuck Norris. He's, you know, there's a lot more to Chuck Norris than we talk about. And I think that that's, if we ever get him on the show, that's where I hope the conversation goes. Chuck Norris is a big deal. Like, he's done a lot of stuff. People talk about Chuck, they have reduced Chuck Norris to a very narrow set of who he is. Like, the jokes are funny, and he likes those. Do you know he originally tried to sue the person who was putting those out? But we've reduced Chuck in a way to a larger than life and yet sarcastic personality. And it's easy to forget that he's a pioneer in the Western martial arts landscape. And he's said poignant things, and he's been there at important times. All right, next. The only time you lose at something is when you don't learn from that experience. I don't like the notions of uh, wasting time or failure or anything. And this was something that I had to work through when I went to Belize. Here's a great recent example of exactly this. I knew nothing about Belize. And when I looked at where to go, there seemed to be a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of cool things on the mainland and a bunch of cool things on the islands. And I was like, so I'll split my time. Okay. And I got to the mainland and I had 2 nights there. And it was really nice. The weather was great. The people were kind. I was eating great food. I was sleeping. The weather was awesome. I was like, this is pretty great. Like, I dig it. And I went to the islands, and it was a whole different experience. It was amazing. It was a different world, and one that I never realized I was searching for. People were asking me, like, so how long are you here? It's like, just 3 nights. They're like, what? It's like, yeah, they're like, that's a really short vacation. I was like, well, I did a couple nights on the mainland and do a couple nights going back. And I started to change my story because everybody was saying, oh, why would you want to spend time in the city, Belize City? Right? Why would you want to spend time in the city? And they were very judgmental. It's like, well, I get it. I appreciate it out here better, but I didn't know. I'm learning from this. Likely when, but if I go back, I will handle it differently. I might have, depending on how my flights go, I may have a night on either end because coordinating with water taxis and whatever. Who knows? But the point being, I learned something I did not know. Hey, if they came to Vermont, are they going to know where to stay and what to do? Probably not. You live, you learn. And it's okay to make mistakes or rather to have experiences that create learning. Frank is recommending his autobiography, Against All Odds. And Kelly's noting Chuck has a great kids martial arts program in Texas. I think it's called Kicking for Kids. I believe you're right. He definitely has one in Texas. I am fairly certain that is the name. It's a nonprofit. And from what I hear, he's very passionate. Whether that is still true, I don't know. What else we got to say? So there, thank you, Frank, for those. Back over here. Nobody left anything on Facebook, and I didn't get anything in my email. Tomorrow's Friday. So drop some jokes or whatever stuff you want me to talk about, and we'll go through it. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go do the intros and the outros because I've been putting them off. I put them off all day yesterday. I'm going to go do them first. That way I can be done with them. Okay. If you want to support, remember we've got the family page, whistlekick.com/family. We've also got the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% off everything at whistlekick.com. And you can also join the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick, where you get stuff back, you get access to stuff. I continue to remind people don't stop their Patreon contributions. It says something. And I will say that even people in the inner circle, even people who are paid by Whistlekick, who would receive, if they wanted, I would give them these things for free as part of their compensation. Support the Patreon. I'm not going to say why. I'll let you connect those dots. If you have questions or comments, leave them on the Facebook page, facebook.com/firstcupwithjeremy, or email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com if you don't do Facebook. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook, on YouTube. Today we're on Twitch. Tuesdays and Thursdays is Twitch. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Twitter. We don't do both because I'd have to spend like another $50 a month. And you know what? Not enough people showing up on those platforms to justify that expense. Episode 700 is coming, and I'll be putting out a Facebook event. We are doing that as a live event, so pay attention. Watch for that. It's Monday. I believe it's April 11th. I mentioned it in the Patreon. But watch for that. I should be making that Facebook event today. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Be well. Peace. Look at that. 30 minutes. I haven't done 30 minutes in a while.